Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of November 16th, 2014. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This week, we have Mercury having some beautiful conversations with Pluto and with Mars as well. Pluto towards the beginning of the week and Mars towards the end of the week. And this is a type of conversation that represents easy harmony, and astrologers call a sextile. So this particular conversation suggests that we are in some way being empowered, being inspired, being revved up by conversation, especially those that are meant to inspire our higher ambitions to come forward. This also can be a time when you run into the right person at the right time. And what I also really like about this is there's just a very high energy where it comes to communicating with other people and deciding what communication matters and what communication doesn't. Now, I think that's a huge part of just managing your energy and managing your happiness, is deciding what is worth paying attention to and what isn't. And this week, we get that clarity that we need to decide and make changes from that place, saying to yourself, no, this is what I'm going to focus on, which very often is one of the most powerful changes that we can make. This week, we're also going to have the sun meeting Saturn in the sky. So I actually spoke about this at length last week. So you may want to watch the introduction to last week's horoscope once again, where I spoke at length about the meeting of Venus and the sun meeting Saturn in the sky. So this is the moment in the middle of the week when the sun will perfect that meeting with the planet Saturn. And this tends to represent sort of, again, this is a continuation. The last bit, I do think last week was a more heightened sense of, as I said then, sort of the make or break energy, very strong ultimatum energy, recognizing the truth, recognizing what direction you are going in and what direction you are not, and understanding what's got to go. That was the type of energy that was dominating last week. And along with that, usually we figure out what needs to change by seeing what isn't working. And usually, especially considering this is Saturn, these can be things that we feel very profoundly and very deeply as well. And so this energy is just going to finish off by the time we get into this week. I do think that if you were okay last week, you'll be okay this week. We're always okay. I do believe that very much. But if last week was one of those, if you were one of those people reaching out to me on social media saying it's so intense right now, this week is going to be a lot easier in some respects. But just know that the last bit of the learning may come for you this week, and be very grateful for it. Also this week, we are going to be having Venus speaking with Neptune as well. And this is an important conversation. This is a conversation that speaks to disappointments on the one hand, speaks to admitting the reality of where you are, where it comes to love or money as well. Also recognizing where maybe you're giving too much or too much energy is being wasted, again, where it comes to love or money. And so this, to me, as I look at this, ultimately comes down to self-care. It comes down to understanding that the greatest love is often one that is grounded in something that is realistic and something that is stable. Love isn't necessarily that thing that feels like it's just swept you away, because very often the love we feel right here and right now tends to be a lot more stronger, tends to be the one that sticks around. Of course, it depends how you define love, but this is going to be a time when we get our opportunities to actually define love in ways that are empowering, and to define love in ways that are clearer by recognizing what habits maybe, where it comes to our partnerships, but what maybe it is that we're ready to sort of begin to move away from or start to move in a better direction where it comes to love. And that direction is often one that is more practical and more stable as well. But ultimately, this energy between Venus and Neptune is saying that if you've been caught up in an illusion, that illusion can disappoint. And reality often is far greater than anything you could conjure up yourself. We've also got moves happening in the sky as well. So we've got Neptune in the sky early in the week, standing still and going direct. So I touched on this a little bit last week. This is such an important time, especially for water signs out there, but all of us in some way are going to be feeling lights turning on. Okay. All of us in some way are going to be coming out of a time of confusion and at least one area of life where maybe things have not been as clear as we would like them to be, as we hope that they would be. This is a time when we start to admit what's really going on, start to look at how we're really feeling. And through all that, through all those considerations, come to a new understanding of where our faith is best placed. And so if we've been putting our faith in things that we know we shouldn't, I spoke about this last week a little bit as well. I don't remember if it was in the introduction or if it was in one of the signs, but I do remember talking about how one of my spiritual mentors going way back, he used to say that ultimately your attention is your prayer, and whatever you pay your attention to is your God in that moment. So again, I say that with absolute respect, but I say that, and what he meant by that is that thing that holds your attention is the thing that is getting your prayer, because your thoughts and your energy are a prayer that you are constantly making. And this is a time when we get to, when Neptune stands still and goes direct, we get to see just what it is that's been holding our energy, what it is that's been holding our attention, what it is ultimately that we're ready to recognize is worth holding our attention, and what isn't, just as equally. So there's a strong sense of faith happening right now and a strong sense of clarity as to what's actually been happening with you on levels of energy and where it is that you need to get clear. So if you've been caught up again, this energy, caught up in a fantasy, this is your chance to see what exactly you have been doing so that you can move forward in the most empowered sense. Then what we have happening this week is we are going to have Venus and the Sun move into the sign of Sagittarius, and we are going to have a new moon. So in the introduction, just mentioning a new moon is big, is sufficient, because the lunar events, the new moon and the full moon, we tend to feel them more because it is representative of our emotions. The moon reflects the swifts and the tides that take place with us on emotional levels and what we feel most immediately. And so when there is a new moon or a full moon, it tends to get our attention more than maybe some other celestial events might. So we've got this new moon happening. Spoke about this at length in a lot of the monthly horoscopes for this month, for the month of November. This is a new moon happening at the very beginning of the sign of Sag. So just as the sun steps into the sign of Sagittarius, a new moon happens. And then immediately what we have happening is this moon moves on and begins to meet Venus and speak with Neptune. So sort of highlighting that conversation that Venus and Neptune are already having, activating it, if you will. And so given this, there is this very strong feeling with this new moon that something's got to begin again, something's got to change, something's got to start. Maybe at first it might start with us admitting what hasn't worked or where we've been getting a little bit too carried away. And from there, come up with something a lot more realistic. I look at the sky, and especially that Sag energy, right? The Sag energy is about, I want to get out there. I want to be in the world. I want to be part of the world. There's a certain freedom loving, yes, to Sag energy, but there's also an element here of knowing more, being more, doing more than you were before, doing what you need to do so that eventually you can reap even bigger benefits further down the road. And so when we have a new moon taking place and you add to that this Venus and Neptune energy taking place as well, it does say to me that if you have been one of those people who's been saying, wow, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to get this off the ground, this is a chance for you to look at, well, if you want that, you can have that, but you've got to put in the work. You got to stop wasting energy. You've got to stop wasting energy and just making it all about a dream, and instead ground that dream and see that, yes, of course, you can achieve whatever you want, but it has to be a little bit measured. And if you're spending a lot of time, having a lot of fun, when you know that you've got some things to accomplish in this life, then that is an energy that needs balance, which I think is so key in all of life. Balance is key. It's not about just saying I'm going to give 100% to my work and that's it. I'm going to avoid everything else, because very quickly you go out of balance as well. It's about finding that right balance between emotional happiness, having the right relationships, having the right joyous, light moments where you're not necessarily going after something, and then having those moments when you are able to give your all to goals that you believe matter to you. So these are different modes of being. And we are going to be asked now with this particular new moon to, at the very least, identify where it is that we've been a little bit off balance. And now we're ready to start something again that is going to help prepare us for even bigger rewards further down the road. Well, thank you so much for watching this introduction. As always, I'm truly so grateful for this moment with you. Please keep your astrology questions coming. I absolutely love it. I'm very busy working on a bunch of things to launch for you guys. And again, so grateful for this moment with you. I love your astrology questions. If you'd like me to have a look at your chart, if you are asking questions that are a little bit more personal about your life, consider a personalized horoscope, if you will. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you would like to jump ahead to your sign, have a look at the description in YouTube where you can click on the timestamp to your sign. I am truly loving your interactions on social media, and I love your astrology questions. Please keep them coming. I'm very busy working on a lot of things that I will be launching in the coming weeks and months, and I'm very excited about it. I can't wait to share, and really it is your questions that are spurring my creativity and also really, really motivating me. I especially want to thank all of you who just send really positive energy. I gotta say that, write really positive comments, send positive energy my way, letting me know that what I do, my work, matters to you. Thank you so much, because that really does motivate me and inspire me, and it also grounds me exactly when I need it. I tend to get those messages at exactly the right moment when I need it, and when I need to remember to bring my absolute greatest enthusiasm possible to astrology and to you as well. So keep those questions coming. I am often asked about more personal situations. If you'd like me to have a look at your unique birth chart to answer some questions specific to you and your life, please consider a personalized horoscope where I do just that. And you should see the link somewhere on your screen right about now and in the description below in the YouTube description. And as always, of course, as much as I am truly so grateful for the trust that you send my way always, I'm also very grateful just to have the opportunity to in some way be some small part of your sacred journey by providing these videos, and you being here, receiving this omen that I hope in some way helps you to experience greater hope and greater inspiration in your life. Well, it truly is so meaningful to me. So thank you so much for that. So how all this wonderful astrological adventurous climate is speaking to you and your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This week we have your ruling planet speaking with Mercury towards the end of the week. So you add to this the fact that we've got this new moon happening in a very sort of positive fellow fire sign, Sagittarius. You put this together and it does suggest that you are certainly going to be one of those signs that rises above any other sort of energy that might be there that might not be flowing as easily for other people. You are able to rise above it through a few different ways. One is, I do think that your mind is just going to be lit very well this week. It does look like your mind is very sharp. You're having great ideas. You're feeling enthusiastic about the things that you have yet to do, the things that you would like to do. And there's an element there of you just feeling really inspired and really lifted, especially when it comes to your career, especially where it comes to your finances as well. In fact, I do think that you are very likely to, whether it is that you receive some money or whether it is that somebody says to you, hey, you need to go over there and you may be able to apply buy and get your hands on some money. These types of conversations you're likely to attract now, because it does look like there's sort of an easy way that you're able to bring together what it is that you desire to achieve and the financing that you need to actually achieve it. So you've got a lot of cosmic support there. And then you add to that this new moon, which is vision. It's all about vision. It's all about you understanding what needs to be put into place if you're going to reap even bigger rewards a little further down the road. And so this is about you tapping into your enthusiasm, quieting the insecurity, tapping into the enthusiasm, sheer enthusiasm at that, and deciding what it is that you're actually going for. What do you aspire to? What is your vision for your future and now as well? This can also represent a time when the chance to actually do some traveling or the inspiration to actually move towards higher education can come as well. Just be open to that, because it does look like it's a very beginning, but thankfully Venus is also moving through this part of the sky for the coming weeks. And that does suggest to me that it's the beginning of a journey, yes, but it's a journey that is going to find wonderful ways to fulfill itself a little bit further down the road. Hello, fabulous Taurus. This week we have your ruling planet changing signs and speaking with Neptune. Now, often, Neptune is called the higher vibration of Venus. So I look at the fact that these two planets are speaking in a way that isn't necessarily harmonious, in a conversation of tension, in a conversation of motivation as well. And this to me does suggest that you are being asked to tap into something very deep and to get motivated on a very deeper level as well, to understand ultimately what it is and who it is that you are and what it is that's going to matter to you as well. Friends may play a part in this, so it does look like friendships in some sense are playing a part in your understanding through this. This really is not a time to lend money to friends this week. I would suggest you not do that, and with this new moon as well. It's not a good time to lend money to friends. It's not a good time necessarily even to take like stock tips or investment advice from friends just yet as well. Just wait a little bit, pace yourself. The climate will get a lot better very, very soon, actually. And then you're in much clearer waters, especially once we get you into next week. You're in much clearer waters to make great things happen for yourself and to create greater prosperity for yourself. In some cases, kind of suddenly, in some cases, just out of the blue, in some cases, based on what's already been done in the past. This is not necessarily the moment or the time. So just be mindful of that. There's another element to this, of course, that has to do with giving. Like, what is it that you're giving? And do you feel that it is being wasted as you are giving? Well, this is a chance for you to look at where it is that you're giving of your energy, of your time, of your care, of your love in ways that are empowering to you and in ways that are not. And ultimately, it really comes down to you. The love that you give come down to the love that you choose to give. And sometimes that love needs to be directed towards yourself as well. And that's going to be part of your sacred learning this week. Hello, fabulous Gemini. This week we've got your ruling planet speaking in harmony with Pluto, speaking in harmony with Mars as well. You add to this a new moon happening in your opposite sign. I spoke about this quite a bit in your monthly horoscopes for this month as well. And so just the fact that there's this new moon in your opposite sign in the love-focused horoscope. So you may want to watch that again, because that energy is going to be particularly highlighted as we move you into this week. However, at the same time, what you have happening is your ruling planet having these harmonious conversations. It does suggest to me that you are coming to a deeper understanding of just what it is that, on the one hand, you need from your partner, what you need in love, understanding who you are as reflected in the eyes of another, and deciding if it works and what's actually happening here. You know, one of my spiritual mentors, again, I've been so blessed in my life to have so many amazing spiritual mentors. I do think anybody can be a spiritual mentor to you if you take it with that intention. But I remember, actually, those of you who read my book, my Aunt Shireen is one of my spiritual mentors, and she's said to me, and she has said to me many times over the years, but one of the lessons I always remember from her is that You know, everything is just information. You decide what sense you're going to make of it. And you can decide to make sense of it in a way that empowers you, that lifts you, and that inspires you to do better and be better. Or you can decide to let it waste your energy and let yourself get caught up in these sort of emotional entanglements where you're spinning yourself around in circles for nothing. And that person isn't even there. They're probably long gone. This always became a very important lesson for me and an important point of observation for myself. And I do think the same is going to be true for you this week, because this week we do have you coming to ask yourself, where is it here that I am genuinely receiving information that I can use that is speaking to some truth within me? And where is it that I'm actually just letting myself get caught up in circles when this person doesn't know what they're talking about and doesn't have anything to do with me, and I don't agree with them anyways? So that's going to be part of your sacred learning this week, is to embrace this lesson as information comes at you, because there's going to be a variety of information, yes. And especially where it comes to love and partnership and what that should mean, whether that's from a partner or in the context of you considering love and what love is going to mean for you. This is a time when you get to ask yourself these very important questions. What is love for me? How do I define it? How do I experience it? Where am I happy within it? And to be okay with just that, regardless of what anyone else might think. Hello, fabulous Cancer. This week we have got a new moon taking place for you in a part of the sky that has to do with your habits, that have to do with the work that you're actually doing and actually being good at the work that you're actually doing. And this to me is a chance for you to ask yourself if you like what you're doing, what you feel about the work you're doing, if it empowers you, if it strengthens you or not. And where it does, that's amazing. That is the road that you want to keep traveling, because that is the road where magic happens. Where it isn't, this is your chance to get clear on why you are where you are, and now what it is that you can do to actually make some changes so that you do empower yourself. So again, this is happening on a level of health. Are you feeling as good as you could? If not, what's got to change? And then actually changing it. If you are okay with your health, or maybe in addition to the health, there's workplace with the work that you're doing. Are you feeling happy and satisfied? If not, this is a time to ask yourself some very important questions. If you're self-employed, this is a time especially to ask those really important questions of creativity and of fulfillment, because that ultimately is going to lead you on a path of actually attracting the types of opportunities, actually regardless if you're self-employed or not. If you want to find yourself in environments and doing tasks and doing things that feel right to you, that feel empowering to you, ultimately, it does come down to you asking some deeper questions. Those questions will be arising for you now. And if you focus on a vision that you may have for your life, what is it ultimately that you really want to do? What is it that you're hoping to manifest in the biggest and best sense of the word? It is there that you will find your clearest answers. Hello, fabulous Leo. This week we've got your ruling planet, the sun, meeting Saturn in the sky. So this is energy that you actually started feeling last week, and it's just going to sort of reach a moment of perfection, if you will, this week. And this energy has to do with love on the one hand, romance, fun, what is fun for you. And so because it's a continuation of a lot of the themes of last week, I would invite you to watch last week's horoscope again. Just know that if any issues came up, this is a good time when you'll find the resolution, when you'll find the clarity. It's almost as if maybe last week, yes, there was on the one hand a more intense environment happening. But on the other hand, what we also had happening last week with the highly emotional environment, was any sort of intuitions telling you that something's off, something's of a concern, something requires your attention. Some paid attention, some didn't. Well, this is a week where you just can't get away with not being honest with yourself. That's really what it comes down to. The universe is going to say to you, be honest with you, who you are, what you want, what you're going for. Be honest about what you really need to feel fulfilled. Be honest about love. Where are you in love right now, and why, and how do you really feel about it? And be honest about what is happening. If you have children right now, what might be happening with them, how you can actually be a much more effective parent as well. All of these are going to be part of your sacred learning this week. And all of this ultimately is a very grounded energy. This is about honesty that leads to a practical understanding of what was and what no longer is, and what you need to do today to build the long-term future that you are actually going for. Hello, fabulous Virgo. This week we have got this wonderfully supportive energy happening that is asking you, with your ruling planet speaking in harmony with Pluto, with Mars, in very supportive positions in the sky for you. We have this week asking you to speak up on your behalf. Big, big lesson. Speak up. Consider what it is that you need to feel a sense of fulfillment, to feel a sense of greater joy, and then actually ask for it, speak of it, move towards it, think of it. I spoke of in the introduction this whole idea about sort of aligning yourself with certain energies, with deciding what it is that's worth holding your attention and what isn't, and understanding that ultimately your attention is a prayer. This becomes very true for you now, where it isn't so much that it necessarily feels very lofty and very up in the air, but rather it's very centered. It's very much about you having a mental and intellectual clarity that if you actually want to manifest a more fulfilling life, you've got to think of it more often. You've got to speak of it more often, and that there are certain things that you can actually do to cultivate it, mainly in terms of how it is that you are using your words. So that's going to be a really big lesson for you. What we also have happening that I spoke of in the monthly love horoscope for your sign, Neptune in your opposite sign, standing still and going direct. What an important move for you. This is going to be a move that speaks to progress and clarity on the level of love and partnership, where you are right now, where it is that you desire to be. If there's been any confusions or any questions, this is the time when they start to lift, so you get a very clear understanding of just where you are and a clearer understanding of how to move yourself forward towards greater love. Hello, fabulous Libra. This week we have got your ruling planet speaking with Neptune. Now, Neptune is often called the higher vibration of Venus. So the two of these planets are meeting, or at least rather speaking. Venus is in a very harmonious position for you, but Neptune really is not. And so these two planets are meeting, and they're speaking in a type of conversation that has to do with honesty. It has to do with truth. It has to do with motivation as well. And usually motivation, especially motivation to act and to make changes, doesn't happen until we identify what isn't working. And I do think that it's going to be a conversation this week, some sort of conversation, some kind of interaction that shows you what it is in your life that is no longer resonating as right for you, especially what you're doing day in and day out on a daily basis. Now, one thing that is good about the sky this week is if you are one of those people who has had some sort of like, if you haven't been feeling so great, or maybe you got a diagnosis and it didn't really resonate and you didn't know what to do about it, or you've been looking for the right, whether it's a health treatment, alternative health treatment, or health practice, this is a time when the clarity can start to come. And this is really thanks to Neptune standing still and then going direct. With your ruling planet involved, it does look like the answers you find hit very close to home, hit very close to your heart, and really help you understand where it is that you actually are. And again, it is going to be conversations that clear up a lot of things. In fact, it may even be just the act of sharing, just the act of talking that helps make you feel physically, helps make you feel a whole lot better. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. This week we have got your ancient ruler and your modern ruler speaking in harmony with Mars. So this is great. Last week we had Mars and Pluto meeting, adding a lot of clarity, adding a lot of power punch to your intentions as well. And this week we've got the support coming in with Mercury. It does suggest that you really are starting to feel like something's coming together for you. Mercury in your sign as well, making your mind particularly bright. So it would start feeling like something's coming together in the best possible sense. You add to this the fact that the sun is going to be meeting Saturn in your sign. And this is an energy really that's been with you since last week, will perfect this week. And I do think that regardless of what happened last week, this is a week when you start to make sense of it, you start to accept what is, and you start to understand your way forward and be empowered by that. The thing is, when Saturn when the sun meets Saturn in your sign, and this is true for the rest of your life, this is true for every sign out there. But when the sun and Saturn meet, all of us in at least one area of life get a big dose of honesty and get a big understanding of the reality of the situation, whatever situation we are in at least one area of life. When it's in your sign, it reaches right into the heart of you. It's the reality of who you are. It's the reality of what's really going on with you on a level of heart, on a level of spirit, on a level of identity as well, and who you understand yourself to be. Now, it doesn't always look, I am very encouraged by the fact that we've got Neptune, Neptune, yes, standing still, beginning to go direct, should help bring clarity to you as well, should help you connect to a feeling of self-actualization or clarity of what you need on that front. And as I said, Mercury, the conversations Mercury's having, Mercury in your sign is going to help you tremendously as well. Help you make sense of a lot of things, help you understand your way forward, what you want to do, and who you really are in the best possible sense. But there is that meeting. And sometimes it does suggest stuff happening that you're not crazy about. Because it is really the stuff that happens that you don't like that shows you where change needs to happen, that shows you where your power is. And so that's what's going to be inspired for you now. That's what's going to be kicking up for you now. You do have this wonderful opportunity to see yourself so much more clearly. And at the same time, recognize that who you are not only is a work in progress, but who you are really is up to you. Now that is something that truly is empowering. To have that realization is something that spurs you on to take action towards becoming greater and greater. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. Well, we've got a new moon in your sign that really makes you sort of the celestial spotlight is on you. And this is a time when who you know yourself to be and what really matters to you comes to a new understanding, a new vision. And it is your personal new year, really. It's your chance to begin again. And I did spend the monthly horoscope for this month talking about that, the overview horoscope. So you will want to have a look at that, because it does speak to, and this week in particular, does speak to an opening, yes, on a heart level, an acknowledgement of what didn't work in the past, where you are right now, on a heart level in terms of love, yes, but in every area of your life. And there's also an appreciation that you are now beginning in a new way to start something new. And how are you going to fully embrace that with its imperfections and all? That is going to be part of your sacred learning this week. Lots of sacred learning happening for lots of signs out there. For you, it reaches right into the heart of you. This is a time when you are going to gather information that you will then use to plant seeds. It's a time for planting seeds for you once we get you to the end of the week and into the next. And so any disappointment or energy that might be feeling like it's there, maybe you can't really put your finger on it. Maybe there's some sadness that needs to be acknowledged. And again, in love or money, stuff close to the heart that needs to come to the surface for release. All of that is a wonderful opportunity for you now. And you embrace that, you allow that to happen, and you're going to find yourself just feeling fresh and clean and ready for starting something brand spanking new. And it looks like what it is that you're starting feels very, very right. It is just a start. Keep that in mind. It's just a start. Will be more fully revealed, but you've got Venus in your sign, entering your sign this week, will be in your sign for the next couple of weeks. So you've got lots of support to really give yourself a sense of love, to receive a lot of love as well, and really sets you up nicely to believe that you can begin again and you can begin things that truly matter to you, because you certainly can. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. This week we have got your ruling planet being met by the sun. Big moment for you. This happens once every year, and it does tend to represent clarity, a turning point, an understanding of who you are. And that's really what it comes down to, clarity as to who you are. And the part of the sky that Saturn and the sun move through, or they meet rather, speaks to how it is that that understanding comes about. And for you, it's going to be through friends. It's going to be through friendships. You're going to come to understand who you are, how you connect with others, how it is that that matters to you in a whole other way and in a whole new way as well. It does look like this is a time when a friendship is going to be changing, a friendship is going to be evolving, and very possibly, I'm going to be honest with you, a friendship may be ending or dissolving as well. And so if you should be one of those people who finds yourself in that situation, allow that to unfold as it needs to, allow that to be what it is that it needs to be, and understand that no one in your life is there by accident. And at the same time, no one leaves your life who isn't meant to leave as well. I am truly one of those people who believes that everything in the universe is moving you towards greater love and greater wisdom. And this moment of your life certainly is part of it. It's an important week, but it's also a week that's meant to empower you, meant to really help you get into that brainstorming mode, a mode that allows you to feel a sense of energy and clarity and vitality, a mode that ultimately is about tapping into your power to make great things happen. And you surely can. Trust your mind and trust your ability to share, trust your ability to communicate as well. And what other people need to do, whatever else may happen, let it be what it needs to be, because you've got something even more important and even more precious and even more valuable than anything external that might happen. And that is that you've got you. And with that, really, you can make amazing things happen. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. This week we have got sort of your ancient ruling planet being met by the sun. Yes, the sun being the ruling planet of your opposite sign. And right now we have got Saturn, your ancient ruler, moving through a part of the sky for you that has to do with life purpose, has to do with career, has to do with an understanding of where it is ultimately that you most desire to go in life. And I look at this, and this to me is very much about people supporting you, people coming to you to say, hey, you could be doing more, you could be doing better, you should be raising your expectations for yourself and what it is ultimately that you're capable of. You know, I'm reminded of a story has just come to mind many, many years ago as I finished university. I remember, and I shared this in a recent newsletter that got a lot of great feedback from you guys. Thank you for that. Where I said that my vision really for my life was to hide behind a computer. I was perfectly happy doing that and to have a little client base in Toronto. And I was very happy to just do that for my life. And I remember that right out of university, I met a mentor for a while, Ralph Hammermill, who does a lot in terms of the whole spiritual and psychic community out in Toronto. And I met him and we became friends. I worked with him for a little while as well, sort of paying my dues as I was starting out and trying to figure out what I was meant to do. And I remember that he said to me, you're too good to sit behind kitchen tables for the rest of your life. You're too good to do that. And those words really stayed with me, really had an impact on me and my life and my understanding of myself as well. And of course, at the time, it wasn't like I was ready to go ta-da and just be thrown out there into the crazy world of YouTube or anything like that. But definitely that was a moment that left an imprint on my spirit and on my heart that gave me the further motivation or confidence, or at least made me able to listen when the universe was sort of directing me where to go. So I share this story with you because I really think it's that kind of week for you, where somebody says something to you, whether they say it or whether they're practically doing something to say, you know, I believe in you, I want to help you, or I want you to do something that's bigger than you've done before because I want to see you shine. There is going to be somebody who in some way facilitates this understanding for you. And in some cases, it's going to be in the unlikeliest sense. This also is a time when you understand what is not part of your life purpose. So on the one hand, you've got support coming from other people saying, this is part of your life purpose and it's bigger than you're giving yourself credit for. It's bigger than you've been demonstrating. And that really is going to be information that makes an imprint on your spirit. And then on the other hand, we've also got you understanding what isn't part of your life purpose and making changes from that space. So strive to be honest with yourself. This is a very important week for you, as it tends to be right around this time. That is meant to show you just what it is, or who it is really that you are on a very deep level. And from there, from that self-knowledge, truly so much more becomes possible to you. Hello, fabulous Pisces. This week we have got Neptune. I spoke about this last week for you as well. Neptune standing still in the sky and moving direct. So you ended actually last week with Neptune slowing to a crawl, standing still. You start the week with that energy. And as the week starts really out of the gate, we've got Neptune moving forward, stationary direct, as it is called in astrology circles. And so we've got this happening, big moments of clarity for you, big moments of understanding for you as to who you are, what you're really going for, what really matters to you. Really important shifts taking place on an energetic level. So a lot of the understandings have already been taking place, but this is about a big shift happening. If you have felt, or if you haven't really been paying attention the last few months with Neptune going retrograde in your sign, you really are going to feel that, wow, something's changed. I really see a lot of Pisceans waking up in the early part of this week one day and saying, oh my God, I feel different. Something's changed. Having a dream that all of a sudden makes a lot of the confusion just go away. And you may not necessarily like what clarity does come, but it is going to allow you to have that sense that you finally feel like you're moving forward. Maybe you already have been moving forward. Lots of symbols in the sky have been speaking to the fact that you've been moving forward. Certainly we always are, all of us, but it might not necessarily have felt like you were until now, when a deeper appreciation comes in. It is a time when you're going to acknowledge some disappointments, so be open to that as well, and that really is okay as well. Disappointments, especially where it comes to who you thought would always be there for you, who you thought was going to look out for you, who you thought was going to care for you. But really understand that it isn't that anyone's out to disappoint you. I really don't see that happening at all. What I see rather is that maybe you were getting your hopes really high, or sort of placing all your hopes in one direction, when actually you have a lot more options than you previously realized. So if a situation should come about like that, which it might for a small percentage of you out there, let that be what it needs to be, and know that the universe is just really working overtime to empower you in so many other ways. And you are going to find, especially friends are great to get together with this week, to brainstorm with, to think up new ideas with, and to get clear as to your vision for your life and for your future. And with that clearer vision, really just like that, you can find yourself manifesting great things really on the fly, almost like magic. Well, thank you so much to all signs out there. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.